just a few house rules before we begin our program. Please keep your cell phones on silent and no video recording, please. No video recording. There will be a 15-minute Q&A. Just want to confirm. There's a Q&A?
Oh, yes. There will be a Q&A.
So there will be a 15-minute Q&A after the session. And I don't think we have books. We don't.
Books?
There are no books, of course. No, there
I
are
can
no
write
books.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, there are no books by Imtiaz. With that, we're just waiting for him to be wired up. I'm sorry, I've just been all over the place today. Yeah. So just give us a few and we'll have, okay. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, shouldn't say ladies and gentlemen. With that, let's welcome our panelists with a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Tipu.
Imtiaz. This is more people that came to my wedding. I was about to say our wedding, but 1 second. So a few other house rules. I will have a Q&A. I'm sorry that not everybody could fit into this room, and I know the Q&A will unfortunately be restricted to people in this room. Can't get the rest of the folks. I have a few slides. I have questions. As I was making up the questions just a few minutes before this, if you saw me walking around talking to myself, that's me, trying to get my questions ready. My questions are really long, so when you ask your Q&A, make sure that your questions are about 1/10 the length of what mine are going to be up here. I do have a couple of things. One is I'm going to, I realized that I need to make one PSA here because this is a room full of creators or people who have come in because there are creators everywhere. And as I was rooting through my DVD cupboard, and I realized, Imtiaz's big movie, which is this, Highway, which is, this is the official DVD purchased by my dear wife. This is a pirated DVD, also purchased by my dear wife. And this is the copy from our Saratoga library. This is official. This is official. This is not. So be kind to your creators. Please pay for your content. That's all.
Thank you. Wonderful.
So with that, I'll start. But one of the most embarrassing things as I was standing here listening to Sangeeta introduce me is that my introduction was longer than his. I mean, that's really embarrassing. So what I want to do is quickly go through his filmography. And what I want to check, and this is more like which of the movies is most popular, where I should focus on some of the questions. So as the different movies come in, if it's a movie that you like, it's one of your favorite movies, just cheer. So you're going to do this very scientific, how loud is it cheering, and based on that, we'll know. So firstly, apologies for this pun. I was doing this late at night, and this is the best I could come up with. So I'm going to go through all his movies, movies directed by you. You have also, of course, written a few other movies that are not directed. So I'll go with that. It starts chronologically. Oops, sorry. Let's see. And of course, it's not moving. Sorry. Okay.
Anita.
Okay. So our winners are Jab We Met, Rockstar, Chamkila. Imtiaz, are you surprised?
No, I was just thinking which will be the least. And I had my own,
Theory.
theory and mental bet with myself. But anyhow, more of that later.
We'll get a chance
Definitely
for
not
that.
at a public forum. But I welcome all of you. And all of you are looking much better dressed than I am. And I really admire the people that are sitting where I used to sit in every conference, in every show like this. I've never found a seat while I was at college, university. I've always had to stand. Paji, आप लोग बैठ जाओ यार अगर जगह मिले थोड़ा. But thank you all of you for being here. This is a very bright and cheerful room, and I'll try to do full justice to all of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Imtiaz, and thank you, Art Forum. I have to say, this is my 5th year doing these, and the first one that we did, we had the Sacred Games panel, and just before this, we had the Mirzapur panel. I feel like you've kind of gone through a circle there. And we had Anurag Kashyap after that. And I know, you are one of your first acting roles was in Anurag's movie, in Black Friday. And I have a small clip. If we'll get to that, I'll probably show it. But my point was that Art Forum has been doing this for quite a few years, and I'm very glad that all of the wonderful people there have been supportive of this and giving us this forum. So for Ambika, Mayu, Karen, please give them a big thanks,
Yeah.
and to the army of volunteers who are making this thing happen. So, because this is not your first Bay Area trip, is it?
No, it's not. And I'm very fortunate to have shot here for Love Aaj Kal as well, long time back. And the bridges featured there. We've got some actors present in the house. And that is Rajiv Nema, who picks up a fallen down Saif from the pavement. That's really amazing. It's really amazing, that memory. But yeah, I've been here before. Many of my friends live here. I also came with my sister and boss, Sufi Appa, long years back when she drove from LA to bring me through Highway 1.
Oh,
is that what you call it?
Yes,
to San Francisco, one of the most beautiful sights one sees in God's world. So yes, I've been here before, but it's very heartening to come here this time because I met some incredible people like yourself, Tipu, yesterday, and very bright and a lot of creative artists. I feel I am sure to carry a lot home from here.
Thank you, Imtiaz. And I'll quickly go through 1 or 2 clips from here.
Okay.
Sorry, the audio was very low on this, but there's a whole song playing on this. I'll just... This is all shot from the DVD with my cell phone, so...
That's San Jose.
Yeah, that's San Jose. So that was funny because the first clip is actually from San Francisco. And
Yes,
yeah. Yeah, and we were just, I was this weekend, I was in San Francisco, and I said, oh, that's a very long trip. He takes a trolley in San Francisco, ends up in San Jose downtown. And my daughter studies now in the school in San Jose downtown, so I see that building every day. And then, of course, we have our...
the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah. There's one of my favorite scenes is here. And see how beautifully it cuts from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Howrah Bridge. And I also realized that Imtiaz and I have one common thing of Calcutta, though, Imtiaz, we were born and lived in Jamshedpur.
Yes.
And I went to school there at XRI, so Jamshedpur is a place that I love and contributed a lot to me. And how was it like at that time, kind of growing up in Jamshedpur? And then, of course, Calcutta being so close, and I'm sure you would have had visits and relatives and
Absolutely,
everything.
yeah. We make food trips to Calcutta even now. People come from across the globe to just be in Calcutta to eat 3 meals a day. Maybe we make it 4 or 5, actually. And it's tough to choose in Calcutta where to eat, because everywhere you go, great food. It's a great city, you must discover it in your time. But Jamshedpur is the ideal place to have grown up in, I feel. I think it gives you a very well-rounded, very desi Indian, but also an internationally exposed raising up. Viva Jamshedpur.
Yes.
Arey, Romi. Yeah, lots of people from Jamshedpur here. Vinay is here, Sufi Appa is here. So we are in good numbers everywhere we go.
Yeah, I went back a few years back for my batch's 25th anniversary, and my God, the place has changed so much. But
it has,
every city
but
has.
I remember it in the way that it was when I was there, where you could, the great thing about Jamshedpur is the cosmopolitan attitude of it. Like you go into different people's houses and the dal is different, the sambar is different, the language is different, and it's all, like all communities, all states of India are equally represented. There are people from the south, north, east, Gujarat, Bengal, everywhere, and you get a smattering of all kinds of spices and language. So when you go out anywhere in the country, you are at home. You know how to talk to a Keralite parent, you know what to say to a Bengali girl. It has.
Tell me, what should I tell to a Bengali girl?
You'd know that better living in Calcutta, though. So yeah, but it's a great place to have been raised, and it was very safe to go. There are lots of swimming pools. Almost everyone from Jamshedpur knows how to swim, and some of us play golf because there are golf courses there. It's a small place, but it's a very progressive culture in that way.
Now, after that, you went to Delhi to study.
Went to Delhi to Hindu college, yes. Oh, wow. Ambika is from Hindu college.
Oh, there we go.
Delhi University.
Oh.
Wow.
Excellent. And I also realized that in Hindu college, and again, we have some common friends, but I know a lot of friends from that side, and art, theater, etc. was a big part of that, right?
Right, and he knows my friend Gautam Sinha very well. And Gautam Sinha was in XLRA later, but he was a year senior to me, but we used to do a lot of theater together. So, yeah, very fond memories doing street theater in Delhi University. Jan Natya Manch was obviously a very well-respected organization. I wasn't a part of it, but I was a part of Act 1, which was in some ways connected to Jan Natya Manch, and I knew the people that were in Jan Natya Manch at that time. When I went there, the incident with Safdar had already just happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then I went to Delhi. I went to JNU for a year, and then of course I worked at Delhi. So I'm kind of very familiar with that Delhi culture and that what you grew up in. Sorry, not you went to school in. But one of the things I see also in your movies, and sorry, I'm going to read out from here. Your characters, and since you write your movies, they really are your characters, right? I see them taking a lot of journeys, which kind of reminded me, like we used to in Delhi, we used to go north. Whenever there's a doubt, just keep driving north. Something good will happen, and I see that a lot with your characters. But your characters seem to have these internal journeys and external journeys. There's always songs, of course, external journeys. There is some beautiful cinematography, great locations. And can you tell us a little bit about what these journeys mean to you? And of course, you yourself have made the journey.
Well, I wish I could tell you that everything I do in films has a reason. And it's well thought of, and it's all directed towards any objective. But actually, I have no idea why I do the things I do, honestly. As far as travel is concerned, I feel that the country that I grew up in, which is slightly different from the country now, in that, travel was a very accessible form of entertainment. Because the moment you went out of your home and you were on a train, mostly trains, the scene outside the window would keep changing. You would see new things. It would be a novelty which you could afford, which all middle-class families like myself could afford, and it was just, you were new. It was very refreshing. And then also, as I grew up, I realized that I could give any introduction to myself in travel. I don't have to be myself. I could be Charles Sobraj. I've actually been Charles Sobraj. I said, I can't tell you who I am, otherwise I'll have to kill you, kind of thing. So it kind of, it was refreshing to not be yourself, and you could be that once you got out of your home and were on a journey. So I guess the external journey will definitely trigger some sort of internal journey. How that became a part of my movies, there is an allegation on me that I write travel in my movies so that I get to travel myself. And then when I travel more, then more incidents come to my mind relating to travel, and then I write that to my movies again. So it's like a, what's the opposite of vicious cycle?
Virtuous.
Virtuous?
Cycle. Virtuous cycle.
Virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on in me, in my life.
That's, and I sometimes I think if I just give you a movie camera and a car or something, and that's it, you'll come, at the end of it, you'll come back with a movie.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully a good one, which will get a lot of cheer here. I'll keep this in mind, all the movies I make now, that one day I'll be here and then people will be cheering on for it, so I better make a good one.
One of the things that you just said about names, like you said, you could be Charles Sobraj. You are not, of course. I hope not. But which is I don't know. Sounds a little bit like Tamasha. Of course, he goes to Corsica, and then I know what is it? I'm Mona, darling. I'm Dawn, and I also and I recently watched all the movies, so it's kind of playing in my mind. I do my research, and I realized that quite a few of your characters, there's something with the names. Either their names somehow changed, like Chamkila. I mean, again, that's a real life story, so it's not a character in that sense, but Chamkila was not Chamkila originally.
Right.
Then you have Harry met Sejal. I mean, he's not Harry, he's Harinder. You have Rockstar, he's not Jordan, I mean, he's Janardhan. You have, Jab we met for the longest time, the Aditya, right? That's the character, the male character, the hero of the movie. He does not give his name. He's silent about it, and of course, he's silent about a lot of things. So, what is this thing about reinvention? It seems like your characters seem to be reinventing themselves in some ways. Name is obviously the most common way of identifying yourself, but many ways. I mean, there's a growth, there's self-discovery, there's this hero's journey, if you want to talk about it. And it's not just the male characters. Let me be. It's all of the characters. There is some kind of.
I'm thinking up an answer now.
I know. This is like when I've like done all the research and I'm kind of saying, "अच्छा आपके movie में ये चल रहा है, वो चल रहा है, बताइए." And so, I never intended for
Sir,
any of
मैं
these
इतनी
things.
research करके नहीं आया हूँ ना actually अपनी फिल्मों पे. हाँ, I feel एक मैंने कहीं अपनी किसी हिंदी किताब में पढ़ा था that I'm going to say it in Hindi first, that पात्र और चरित्र अलग होते हैं. पात्र वो होता है जो बदलता नहीं है, चरित्र वो होता है जो बदल जाता है. So I feel that somehow that spoke to me very early on, and I'm glad. I feel that in a story, a character should go through some change. And I feel that the basis of drama is also that. Yeah. And no incident happens which does not have an altering effect on the character. So मैं चरित्र समझता हूँ. I can see that happening everywhere. I'm sure that I'll be different after this interview as well.
I'm already feeling different.
So yeah, I feel therefore that there is that change is important for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that the answer to my?
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, of course, I could go much deeper into anything, all of these things. But I also know that some of you who obviously seen his movies even more in depth than I have, you probably have questions. So let me not. I'll leave something for the Q&A. So I'll try to go through a few more of these things and just kind of plant some seeds so that you can follow up later. I love what you just said, Patra and Charitra. And which kind of brings me to my next question is how natural your dialogue writing is. You are a writer, you have written, of course, your movies, and you have written other movies also, which I've, by the way, really enjoyed, especially Ahista Ahista and Laila Majnu, loved it.
Cocktail.
Cocktail and all of these. But the thing that I like about your movies is how natural the dialogue writing is. It's like real people having real conversations. And it's somebody who's watched all movies from the 90s and maybe even the early 2000s, and we kind of miss that. I mean, there's a saying, filmy dialogue. It just means it's a filmy dialogue. It happens only in films. But when if you've watched any of his movies and you hear how they are talking, it is like two people, two friends just having a conversation with each other. It doesn't look like there's a camera and there's a whole lighting going on and people are kind of making stuff up. That's not it. Can you tell me a little bit about that, the writing process?
I feel that this comes from ignorance in a way, because I don't know any better. When I started to make films, I thought I can write the screenplay, but I won't be able to write the dialogue because I don't know that kind of language at all, like the language that they used to use for writing dialogue. So I wanted Anurag to write the dialogue of my films, or someone else to write the dialogue of my films, but it didn't somehow happen. Quite by accident, I was actually forced to write the dialogue of Socha Na Tha and Jab We Met. In Socha Na Tha, there was no budget. In Jab We Met, there was no time. So I had to write. And then I got some awards for it. And I thought, well, my Hindi teachers back in Jamshedpur will be very disappointed. Because, if, Miss Renu Agarwal or Jasbir Rubi were to see that, यार ये तो dialogue हिंदी में लिख रहा है, इसको तो हिंदी हम तो बोलते रह गए कि इसको तो पता ही नहीं है ज़बान कैसे बोलना है. So, but I only knew that. So I could only write that. And, earlier I was having an interview and somebody said that, the women, आपने पूछा अभी, हाँ, कि औरतें आपकी picture में ऐसे क्यों होती हैं? They talk in a certain way or they are. So I said, this ilham हुआ मुझे that I watch a lot of films and I enjoy them, but I learn nothing from them. As a result, the only resource I have to kind of draw out movies from is life itself. So I've seen people talk like this, and I had no other option but to just write like this.
Is it a little bit like what you're saying growing up in Jamshedpur about this whole cosmopolitan thing?
Yeah.
People of all kinds there.
Yeah.
And again, you go to Hindu, and I don't know, when I went to JNU, it was the first time I met people who were different from me. I was always, you go, everybody, all of us, when you're growing up, you go to a little microcosm, you go into people who are like you. That's mostly the kind of people you end up hanging out with.
Yeah.
And I went to JNU, my hostel mate was this guy from Rashid from Srinagar, and I've never met anybody like that before. Changed me, like you just said. But in your case, I mean, as you meet people like this, and that's the kind of growing up that you had, does that all contribute to understanding a different viewpoint, understanding where the other person is coming from, and understanding what motivates them?
Yeah, in fact, I'm very lucky to have been from a small town so that I could move to another town, and the necessary journey of coming to Bombay made me come to various cities. I lived in Delhi. I met people like Jan Natya Manch and Act One, and people at college. They were all different, and you get to understand them, get to see their motivations, and then you realize very gratifyingly that, oh, they're exactly like me. And everybody that you meet at all the corners of the world, people sitting over here, after 2 minutes of conversation, you will come to this wonderful conclusion that, अरे ये तो बिल्कुल अपने जैसा है. So you gain empathy, you understanding, and all of that is actually very useful for me as a filmmaker. So yes, meeting people has been the most important thing that I've done in my life to prepare me for cinema. And it's a very human experience to make a movie. And it comes from actually the experience of humans.
Yeah, and I have to say, and that's one of the powers of cinema, is that it gives you that empathy of understanding different points of view of different people. And I'm in HR, and what I really like about how it kind of ends into my job is I have to understand other people's point of view. It's part of my job. But for you, writing a movie like that, and kind of the movies that we have seen, and it plays well into the theme of Sala this year, the plurality in community, because we need to have that ability to understand other voices. I mean, we are, as a country, America is going through a very difficult political process right now, I mean, irrespective of where you are, who you're going to vote for. But we know that it is hard to get people in a room and talk to each other. And I feel that in your movies, they do that, whether it's a little bit of the father-son dynamic like happens in Tamasha, whether it's just a couple having difficulties where they are together and then they're separate and then they come back together, which has happened in a couple of your movies. It's about two people, like in Highway, who are in opposite. I mean, obviously one is a kidnapper, one is the kidnapped, but somehow something happens in there. It's not necessarily romantic love, but it's some kind of a change happens to the point that you're making of a change. And I feel that this is a really important thing, and you do a great service, I think, to people today to have, to show how that's possible. And I thank you, and I think that's one of the things I really, really enjoy about your films.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about collaborators. And I have a few clips that I'll show in a little bit, which has some of the songs. But as I was going through them, and you see the same kind of names keep popping up. Not the same kind of, the same names. There's Pritam, there's A.R. Rahman, there is Irshad Kamil, I think it's not all of your movies, right, Irshad?
Yep.
Yeah. There is Aarti Bajaj on the editing front, who's also has that, the Anurag Kashyap connection. Ashley Lobo has done a lot of the choreography, and there are many other people who I'm probably forgetting. So my question to you is, again, another HR question. How do you assemble this team? How do you create this, these collaborators, and kind of they keep coming back and working with you year after year? Obviously, they do other work also, but how is it like? How is it to form this team?
Well, I was very lucky that very early in life I bumped into Irshad, and he was introduced to me by Sandesh Chandlia, who said that Sandesh did the music for Socha Na Tha, and he said, please meet this gentleman. He's come from Punjab, and ये शायर हैं. ये सिर्फ lyricist नहीं है, ये poet हैं. So then I met Irshad, and then he opened his diary and he started reading things from it, and then we started talking about other poets, and then we realized this common passion for poetry, and then we started to work together. And every movie since, he is the only person who has worked with me in all the movies that I've made. That's Irshad Kamil. And in some sort of a way, the poeticness of my films, just like he finds a voice for it. And I think songs are very important in Indian films, because somehow the presence of philosophy is very great to the Indian existence. It's very important to the Indian existence. And not everything which is profound can be spoken very easily in dialogue. We don't say those things, but those things do affect us, and they are in our minds, and they are in the air. And in movies, you have the option of showing that through songs. Sometimes higher philosophy, sometimes inner thoughts, conflicts, things that cannot be voiced easily. So my communication with Irshad or with Rahman sir or with Pritam is always about that unspoken thing, which perhaps is more important than all the spoken things that are going on in the scene. So it's a very interesting conversation to begin with, you know. And the starting point is already beyond the normal. That you can see this on the surface, but below the surface and on a deeper level. So the first thing that you always say in music is that on a deeper level or on a more poetic level. So that's is like many of the collaborators that you named, namely the people that work in music and lyrics. There's always a deeper connection kind of thing. So we find ourselves talking well into the night, talking about things that have nothing to do with the movie you're making. Also, sometimes finding an excuse to get out of the house and, you know, meet each other at a place where the police finds you suspicious. That has also happened. And there was a time when during Socha Na Tha, it was our first film, and Irshad, me and Sandesh were taking a stroll on the beach in Warsaw because we didn't want to disturb people back at home. It was 2 o'clock at night. So the cops came around. I said, "Aap kya kar rahe ho? What are you doing here?" I said, "We're making a song." And the location of Warsaw is where traditionally in films Teja ka sona utarta hai. And we are saying we're making songs over here. I said, he said, what do you mean you're making songs? For what? I said, no, we are making a movie. He's a director. And this guy is a music director, and this guy is a lyricist. We are actually making, they said, aa jaiye aap. And they took us to the police station. And, but over there also, they obviously found nothing on us. We were not intoxicated.
And that
So
was not when you identified yourself as Charles Shobraj, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I choose my audience. And mostly they would not believe that I am Charles Shobraj. So no, not then. So these things happen. And I feel also Aarti came in the second film that I did. And so every film, hence, she has been in. And she's also nominated for the Asian Academy Creative Awards. Is that the right way to say it? For Chamkila. So there are 3 other nominations, but she's also nominated for it.
Yeah, and that's Chamkila is a movie that really is all about editing. I mean, it's such an important part of that movie, right?
Yes.
Let me see if I can get to the music part now.
But since you mentioned Rahman and Preetham, I feel that they are very kind people. They let me into their music rooms at all points of time. They pardon my ignorance about music. And like I said to Rahman sir that, this is how it should be, this is how it should be. Then I said after a while that actually, I'm sorry, but I don't know much about music. So he's like, no problem, I know. I know about music. So you carry on, you don't have to know about music. Just tell me what film you're making and, I'll do the music part of it. You feel so encouraged, The great thing about a great man is that he makes you feel great. I feel that Rahman, this came out right, huh? This came out right.
That's why you are a writer.
No, because he fills me with such a sense of confidence, I'm so shy to sing in front of anybody because I can't sing to save my life. But in front of Rahman, I can sing. And I'm continuously like singing that, have you heard that song? Da 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 da. And he's like, he also gets it in his own way. But same thing with Preetham. They put you at ease, and they're always like, no, you see which song. So they involve me a lot with music. And I think there's nothing in films as enjoyable as music for me as a maker. So I really enjoy my time with the music making.
Well, let's go into a few of these. The only thing is I have a video, but I was going to pause it at each point for you to talk about. In case that pause thing doesn't work here, we'll have to just listen to them and then.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, here. These are very short clips.
पर कोई बदली कभी कहीं कर दे तन गीला ये भी ना हो किसी मंजर पर मैं रुका नहीं कभी खुद से भी मैं मिला नहीं ये गिला तो है मैं खफा नहीं शहर एक से
Can we pause here? Can we pause there?
I wanted to. That was where my pause really was.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, so we go.
So
yeah.
It was really very cold where she was dancing. People don't understand how hard these girls work in the film industry. It was really very cold. That is Rohtang. And that's a very, very high pass in the Himalayas. They had just opened it. It was extremely cold. And she was just, she was wearing a kurti. There was a very thin layer under it. And she just managed. And she was okay. She was fine. She didn't fall sick. She never complained. And also, famously, Saroj Khan, the great choreographer, got her first national award for this song. And I was so excited that I could work with her, and that she also she worked very beautifully with the local dancers, and she trained them, and she brought the best of them out into the song, I feel.
Yeah, actually further into the song that happens, and
Yeah.
I cut it out. Unfortunately, I just realized that if I have to play all of these songs, then I have to start from zero, start all over again. Darn, I put in a lot of work on this one, but I should have broken them into different segments. But just for the record, the other ones I had was trying to pair Kun Faya Kun with the Noran Sisters song from Highway.
Pataka Guddi.
Pataka Guddi,
Yeah.
and because it felt that they had that little folk element with that. And then the other pair of songs that I had was...
But don't you have them? You can't play
I
them now?
have them here, but I have to play the whole thing again. Okay.
What's going on? Yeah, where's this?
All right. Sorry. I'll not pause, but we'll just go through it.
Can I talk while this is going on? All right. So this, I think, is my favorite song from any of my films. This is also the first song that we made, Rahman sir and I made together. This is the first scratch he had given, and he thought that you just take some part of it and we can repeat it and make the Mukhra Antara and all that. And I said, just let it be exactly the way it is. We'll write, and Irshad wrote on this exactly the way it is. And this, of course, is from Jab We Met.
And talk of journeys and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is, I mean, originally that's why I put these two songs together, because two slightly different
See,
circumstances. but
the
making
eyes
it
had just been grated.
Yeah.
This
can
pass
say
had
that.
just been opened. We didn't expect it to.
It's funny, I mean, they keep going north in this one, and for
Yeah.
those of you who have watched Game of Thrones, you know what it means to keep going north. You get to the ice at some point. Sorry, this is my changeover slide, but... And we can keep talking about it, I think, through it. And, yeah.
He's wearing a sweater which says Rockstar. That's St. Stephen's.
Yeah.
And very soon, hopefully, we'll see Hindu college as well. That in the box. Oh, we just got. That's Hindu's wall. That's Hindu college.
And
This is Connaught Place.
Connaught Place. It's so funny. I saw a few months back, I saw the movie again at Odeon when it was
Ah.
re-released. Very close
Okay.
to this. Lovely song and lovely picturization.
All these women are real people from
Yeah.
Punjab. Almost none of them is an actor. Many of them actually never saw cinema, never saw a shooting before in their lives. They're all farm girls, many of them.
And I love the way they're having fun and they're expressing
Yeah,
themselves
these
and the
girls-
joy that you have.
There's a story about how they, fought with their parents and came for the shoot. There was a mini revolution going on. Somebody should make a movie on that.
And by the way, I haven't shared this with him at all, so this is like he's seeing it for the first time. So.
This is how it begins. This was a very different song for us because it was almost like telling the story. And we didn't, I was sure that people that come to watch the film wouldn't know anything about Amar Singh Chamkila. And so we had the responsibility, which through this song we performed, of telling the audience everything that they needed to know about Chamkila. This is Mohit Chauhan,
Oh, that's
the wonderful singer,
Oh, I should have added his name also in your list of collaborators. Yeah, of course.
wearing a turban. He said, this is my audition, you have to give me a bigger role next time.
I had to put this song there somewhere. So.
But you should increase the music for the audio for this one, the level.
Thank you, Archie. At Odeon, when I was watching it, the audience had gone wild. So, I mean, 12 years after the movie had come out. And
आज कल very mad फिर तो बड़ी sad आज कल very
Calcutta.
mad ना खाते पीते
And this is
और
Punjab.
ना मुश्किल प्यार के लो मैं इतनी जल
Your heroine?
Ishwaq is now a very famous actor.
Yeah.
And this is a very strange line that Irshad wrote. And he was telling me not to tell Rahman sir about it. कि प्यार की लू में इतनी जल गई कि लू में जाना मुश्किल है.
Now,
I think.
yeah. So this is the Nizami brothers, but they're not singing it, right?
No,
Yeah.
Nizami brothers weren't singing in
Yeah.
this. That's Rahman sir, Javed and Mohit have sung this song.
And this is another one
But
of
we had the
Purati.
good fortune of being at the dargah and shooting over many, many nights. That was a blessing.
Yeah. I think my next couple of songs has this, the heroine kind of finding her voice in a way.
Huh. Prague for the
Yeah.
second time.
Yeah. Second time after
Most
Rockstar.
beautiful city to shoot in. And Sunidhi, the wonderful Sunidhi. Oh.
Thinking, should I start with the beginning when her hand comes out of the side of the truck? The little bird-like motion she made. And one of her first movie, right?
Her second film.
Second.
Yeah.
This is the Noor and Sisters.
So I shot this song on another song, not on this one. So we'll go to Nagada first.
I know my wife used to listen to this all the time, and then I was remembering this.
I was very nervous while shooting this song, and Bosco, the choreographer,
Yeah.
he used to say that, Shahid will come from there, and then from behind 20 dancers will come. And I said, what's the logic of this? Where are they going to come from? He says, नहीं sir, वो तो आ जाएंगे ना, मैं उनको बोलूँगा आने तो आ जाएंगे.
The best part was Shahid is given 2 minutes to prepare this song.
Yeah.
My God, in 2 minutes he does this. This is the last one.
This is in London, but there's also San Francisco in this film.
Yeah. And you reworked this in the second Love Aaj Kal, right?
Yeah, this song.
A
Yeah.
version of this. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Saif was finding this step very tough.
And the other Saif thing
But
I have.
he did very well ultimately.
Yeah, no, it's very good. The other little Saif trivia is in this song, he wears a turban, which is kind of what one of our earliest Sala events was on Sacred Games, where he is
Oh,
a Taj and
oh,
then
yeah.
he's wearing a turban there too. So these are the songs that I had. I'll have one last question and then we'll move on to audience. Anything else on these songs or any of your songs generally?
It's a pleasure actually to shoot songs on the set, because the whole atmosphere becomes very magical.
Of course.
And then usually you are very happy with the songs that you're shooting, sometimes not so happy. Yes, I was saying that, sometimes that Pataka Guddi song we did not have while I was shooting it. I was very embarrassed to tell Rahman sir I'm making a movie which has only one song. That was Highway. So then he was like, do you want me to make it or not? Like, do you want me to be in this film? I said, I didn't want to tell you about this film because there's only one song. What will I say, make one song? He says, no, if you want me, I'll be there, no. So I said, yeah, please, sir, of course. Ultimately, we had 14 songs in this film.
Give them an inch.
Give them an inch, really. And this is one of them. So I was shooting this with the template of a song by the great Gurmeet Baba of Punjab. The concept of Jugni is very famous in Punjab. And so there was her song, Jugni, which we shot with.
Yeah.
And then that became the inspiration for us to make this song. And then we found Noora sisters, and she was very young, Jyoti. Came at night, she was falling asleep in the booth. Those girls were singing together in one mic. Rahman sir wasn't in town, so there was me and his engineers trying to record this song in the middle of the night. And I remember Jyoti was she came to know my name is Ali. And then in this song, there's this repeat, Ali, 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 Ali.
Yeah.
So she was like pointing towards me and singing from the booth. And she didn't we didn't really know each other so well. Like, I thought, ye to badi badmaash ladki hai.
She was Coke Studio. They were Coke Studios, right?
No, maybe they were. I never got to see that actually. Amazing talent, amazing. There's so much talent in Punjab actually. It's amazing.
My last question. I want to talk a little bit about Gen X and nostalgia, and you and I are the same age probably, and we've kind of grown up in the same kind of India that, and you said a little while back how some of it has changed. What I see nowadays is a little bit of this repackaging of nostalgia, whether it's the Angry Young Men, the show, or Romantics, and Romantics is the one about Yash Chopra. Angry Young Men is Salim Javed. And do you feel, I mean, in this whole continuum of Bollywood movies, and of course you grew up watching them, I mean, how would you put your movies? I mean, does it harken back to nostalgia? Is it like a new path? Is it like going something different? Or is it just like happening?
I think it's too subjective for me to give an opinion. I'm just happy that my cinema belongs to, or the work that I do belongs to cinema as such, or Indian cinema. But I can't really say what my contribution has been or what my cinema is.
Yeah, probably not so much as what your contribution, but generally, do you feel that it is like in this whole path of movie making, of Bollywood movie making, I'm sorry, and the way some of it has changed? And when Anurag Kashyap came here and talked, or when Varun Grover and Vikramaditya Motwani were here, it's kind of a slightly different kind of Bollywood. I don't know if new Bollywood is a term. It's a different way that the Bollywood ethos is moving. The kind of movies being made is changing. Do you feel that in your movies, it's a change that you're going towards? Is it progressing in its own way?
What I have noticed is when I was making Socha Na Tha, everyone was telling me, even during Jab We Met, that this is a very different film.
Exactly, yeah.
This is not mainstream.
Yeah.
Then I was making Love Aaj Kal, which is perhaps a bit more like forward than Jab We Met. But by that time, cinema, or the understanding of cinema in India, had already changed, and they were not saying it's hatke anymore. They were saying, no, this is mainstream. So the mainstream, we were lucky.
Yeah.
There was a time when movies with a little bit, the movies that I make or that Anurag makes and many of us, even Raju, they were supposed to be alternative cinema. But that mainstream has become broader and has included all these narratives as well.
It's a big tent now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also now, recently, I feel that there is the scope of making any kind of film and finding an audience for it.
Yeah.
So
is it an OTT phenomenon, or
it could be, but it's also a COVID phenomenon.
Yes.
I feel that people saw all kinds of content everywhere, and so they got refined, they got aware, and so you can make a film like Jawan and have the whole world and their uncle come to the theater to watch it. But you can also make 12th Fail and make a very big success at the box office. So every kind of film, I'm sure that it has to be a good film, and I'm sure that it also has to be right in terms of the practicalities of who's watching it and what they're interested in, etc., etc. But it can work.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm getting more and more aware of, especially after my interaction with the OTT, you have to have your own scent. You can't be universal. There is nothing called universal cinema. You have to make the cinema that you intrinsically can make. The stories that are yours and have your trademark, the scent of your body. You can only make those films. Otherwise, people will not be interested.
It's what the French auteur theory is. Like, you have to have that personal imprint on your movies. It's your kind of film. It's an Imtiaz film.
Yeah, but I don't mean it in a narrowing down way.
Okay.
I mean it in a way that I must be interested in it. It could be the story of something which is far removed from me. It could be about Napoleon losing the battle. But I have to have something to say within that.
Yeah.
It can't be that I'm trying to think what will work in this world and try to subscribe to that and make that. That perhaps is not the right approach. Or at least that's not the approach that's working anymore.
Yeah.
There's no formula that's working. lot of things are failing, but we are also thankfully at a time where no formula exists anymore. Nobody can say this is what works, you do this calculation like a quadratic equation is going to result in success.
Yeah.
So you have to go back to the drawing board and see meri kahani kitni achhi hai, do I really want to tell it, the basic rules of storytelling.
Yeah.
That is what you have to go back to at this time when everything is kind of seems like falling apart.
Things falling apart. That's a great point to begin. I'm going to throw it open to questions. There are mics, and I know there's not a lot of time. Let's start from there. You have the mic? Okay. The lady there. One, two. And then we can go into that side. We'll just TikTok between those two. Oh, sorry, just keep your question short. That's one the other thing.
Sure. Hi, Imtiaz.
Hi.
It was a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you.
I wanted to know from you, your women characters are fascinating in all your stories, and I find them that they are very self-assured, they hold a lot of strength, and I love that in their own journeys, they also empower the men in the stories who are so vulnerable and tender and broken in some ways. I would love to know. My question is,
Art
when you
follows
write...
life. That's my answer. Like, this is what I've seen in the world.
Right, yeah, I mean, that's what part of my question was, whether writing these women characters into stories, does it come to you instinctively or also with intentionality?
Instinctively. Not intentionality.
So that's not a formula.
Yeah, but this is what I seem to have seen. I've met like strong, intelligent women who actually could handle themselves better than many men I've met in my life. So.
Thank you so much.
And I'm also smart enough to see that there are more women in the audience than men.
As you said, know your audience. The gentleman there.
Hi there. Thank you
Hi.
so much for being here, sir.
Thank
My
you.
name is Rhythm. I'm an undergraduate student at Stanford.
Rhythm?
Yeah, like music. I'm an undergraduate student from at
So
Stanford.
your name doesn't have a vowel.
Oh, it's Yeah, and I'm really excited to be here, especially because I found out about your talk today morning when I was doing laundry. But my question to you
Did
is
you
about-
wash your dirty linen? Did I wash my dirty linen in public today? Okay, go on. Sorry, I'm just trying to have fun with you.
But my question to you is about the song Kun Faya Kun, I think.
Ji.
One of the most iconic scenes, and this has been talked about in a lot of interviews with Ranbir Kapoor and the other people part of the film. One of the most iconic scenes is when he looks in the sky, and that happens twice in the song. And so my question to you was, like, I really love the film, but I wanted to know from you, what was your intention? What did you intend to convey as part of the story? What was the realization that Jordan had in the first instance and in the second instance?
Very specific.
You know, sometimes, while in life, it has happened to me, it might have happened to you as well, that you just stop to check whether what is happening is really happening, or is it just just an appearance? Is it an act going around me? Is this really happening? Am I just imagining this? Is this reality, or is it something else? You know, and it's like what's that film? The Truman Show. You know, it's like. So sometimes I still have this feeling before Truman Show that is Truman Show happening in life, and what appears, is it just that, or there is something else as well? You know. And I don't mean it in a metaphysical way or in a magical way, really, but it's just a feeling of, is this really happening? ये जो हो रहा है, ये सच में हो रहा है? You know, that kind of feeling. Or, is this all? You know, things like that. But it is not very clear in my mind what it is that I was trying to express, or why was I trying to express anything at all. I just say that this just happens. And I just told Ranbir in the same way that you look over there and you just like the perspective shift. It's like, ye hai ya nahi hai? Ya kuch aur hai? And that challenges everything, you know. So it is not very clearly articulated in words, you know, which is why we need cinema to articulate it. So it's difficult for me to say to you exactly what it is, but that's why we make cinema.
It's up to you to interpret.
Yeah, but then I feel that sometimes the most inexpressible things get conveyed by cinema very effectively. Sorry.
Thank you.
Right here.
Hi.
Hi. In a parallel universe, I think Tamasha should have won the Oscar. I mean it.
Thank you.
It's the best film ever. But
Thank
my
you.
question to you is, can you talk a little bit about the character Bachpan in Tamasha? And the second is, Piyush Mishra as a storyteller. I know you're a storyteller. And is Piyush Mishra, in a way, reflecting you or the dynamic that you share with your team? I think he is. The dialogues are incredible, but it's a different session altogether, I know. Anything you can share about the film?
So your question is about Tamasha and the Bachpan character. Okay.
I wanted to call Tamasha window seat. That's an important thing about Tamasha, I feel, that you're looking outside and you're imagining yourself outside the normal existence. Like I said about train and travel, that you could be anything you choose to be. You can also be anything you imagine yourself to be. And you feel that if this experience of civilization and behavior and tutoring hadn't been in my life, what would I be? And innately, I used to feel that if I wasn't tutored to be a well-behaved boy sitting in this carriage in the train, I would be a stronger guy standing outside it. Maybe I'd be wild, but there'd be a demeanor which is stronger. I would not waste my time smiling and making jokes and being, well-behaved. And I'd use that energy being more truthful and stronger. That would be my real self. This is just my fake self. And I think that's how Tamasha came into existence. Because it's a fight. Like I said to Irshad, actually, I was trying to explain to him what this film is. And I said that ये दो लोगों की कहानी है, मैं और मैं. So, yeah, that's what Tamasha was for me. Piyush was the dada of Act 1 when I was the flunky in Act 1. He scolded me and abused me right through the shooting of the film because he wanted to act more while in the storyteller's role, and I was like, Piyush, you just have to say the line. कुछ मत करो, कुछ बोलना ही नहीं है, कुछ करना ही नहीं है, कुछ खड़े नहीं होना. Just say the lines, and he was very pissed with me throughout. And finally, when we did that one scene where Ved goes back to the storyteller, then he said, I am satisfied with this scene. I don't think I have done a scene better than this before. So, yeah, and that was a very telling scene. It would take all of what Piyush Mishra has done all his life for him to say, अपनी कहानी मुझसे पूछ रहा है कायर. And he could say it in a way for which he had been preparing all his life. That is Piyush Mishra.
And that's such a great summation of some of the themes of, it's not, I cannot explain. You have to figure it out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of what you say.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks.
I'm curious, Imtiaz ji, how do you define...
That's not your name, right?
My
I thought
name?
you were introducing yourself.
No, my name is Sarah, in case you're curious.
I'm just getting old now.
No, we appreciate your jokes.
Ouch! As my daughter would say to me, burn.
Well done, well done.
But I'm curious how you define success in your movies. Like, is it like the box office commercial success, which we obviously know in Bollywood can be very competitive? Is it more about like starting a social dialogue, or is it like something more personal, like in the filmmaking journey? Like what is success for you in your movies?
I think it's the response of the audience, the people that watch the film. There's a certain body language from the audience that leaves the theater. I think it's not a quantifiable quantity.
But
Yeah, it can't be quantified easily, but it's a certain feeling. Audience response, I think, is the better
like the
answer for
cheering
it.
of the.
Like the cheering, yeah.
Rabia?
You know, sometimes
मेरे
things
पास-
can't be. There are many things. Sorry, Rajiv. A lot of things can't be cheered, but they're still effective. You know, and one has to be watchful for that also. Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go with Rabia there, and then with Rajiv.
Huh, Rabia.
Hi, thank you. My name is Rabia, as was said right now. Huge fan, and I just want to thank you for bringing all this beautiful art, cinema, entertainment, and joy into our lives. I'm a Pakistani American who was raised on a steady diet of Bollywood, and it was thrilling to me, and a lot of Pakistanis I knew, when there started to be like cross-border collaboration. We were
Yeah.
seeing Pakistani artists and musicians and others appearing in the films that we love, in the industry that we love. And then a lot of that changed. So my question for you is, how much as a filmmaker in Bollywood do you think the political climate impacts the making of film, number one? Number two, what do you think is the future of maybe more potential cross-border collaboration?
See, all of us in the film industry would love more and more collaboration because it just opens our gates to, you know, more talent, different kinds of talent, and then it just makes the movies better. For instance, personally in my films, Rahat has sung, and it's so beautiful. And unfortunately, politics is not under our control, and the political climate, what the impact that it has on movie making choices as far as cross-border talent is concerned is defining. It's like the rule is to not be, you're not able to. It's not a choice that rests upon us at all. So in those circumstances, you can just like wait for a better time. And the better time does come. And it will come, because beyond a point of time, everybody is happy to hear a song that's good. And that's all. I feel talent will always find its way.
It's funny. Veer Zara is being re-released as we speak.
Yes, yeah.
Rajiv.
ऑडियंस रिस्पांस और चीयरिंग और बॉक्स ऑफिस से आया जब 2009 में इतनी अच्छी लव आजकल मेरे साथ बना ली थी तो 2020 में क्यों बनाई ऐसी क्या मजबूरी थी आपकी
बहुत सारी मजबूरियां होती हैं सर अब यहाँ पब्लिक में बोल नहीं सकते नहीं मगर आप अगर मिले नहीं उस वक्त फिर से बनाने के लिए मगर एक तीसरी बनाऊंगा मैं उसमें अब मेरे पास आपका नंबर है तो मैं बोला
तो कल आज और कल होगा वो yes please
Thank you, Imtiaz, again for bringing the joy and the fun.
What lovely saris so many of you are wearing. Yeah, it's very wonderful, wonderful. It's so great to see all of you.
Thank you. My question is on a couple of things. You said that you were getting old, very gracefully old, like a lot of us. Times are changing, and it's lovely to see youth and love and sexy and dancing on cinema. But what do you want to say as a director to actors who are middle-aged actors and who not only want to play mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts, but they have rich stories to tell? Do you think you can make a movie that will feature middle-aged women and men leading wonderful lives, dancing? What about our representation? Thank you.
Haven't I already? I haven't, no?
Which one?
Which one? No. Yeah. No, but I don't feel that people are mothers or fathers or sisters or, I feel people are people and they can be whichever gender. I mean, why not? For sure. Hopefully. As I see more and more in life and get more stories about, different. It's not as though I choose to tell a story of either young or old or any kind of person. Anything that comes to mind and is noteworthy or is interesting to me personally can potentially become a film.
So just to piggyback
you.
on Palak's question, thank you again for
Thank
the
you.
talk. I just had a straight question about your audition process. How does... we are a room full of actors. So what is your, like when you write a character, first of all, I loved your description about Patra and Charitra and evolving the Charitra. But when you write a character or think about it, do you have someone in mind or?
I don't have an actor in mind at all.
Okay, so you do have an audition process then. And how do we get on it?
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. You must have been very young for that role.
Well played, sir.
I know my lines. Sorry.
On the audition process, like do you send out a notice or how does that work?
I usually work with a casting director, but most of the, the lead roles are cast directly by me. Because I know the actors, and sometimes when we are auditioning for new actors, then the audition happens through a casting director, but then I see many of that, and I also interact with new people, new actors, and try to tell them what the role is, and I see what they are doing, what comes naturally to them, what is looking interesting on them. See, what happens is that when I'm writing, I have these characters in mind, but they are not fully formed people. Sometimes I can imagine them, but they are faint. They are like ghostly images. They don't have faces clearly. So it's not as though I'm looking for a person that looks in this particular way, but he or she feels in a certain way. So when I meet an actor, I feel that, the vibe matches, something matches, or if this person does that, then it might be interesting. And I cast the person that I feel safe with. You feel safe that, if this person comes in and does this part, then somehow I feel safe. So I get guided by that quality, that feeling.
And I have to add that Rajita acted in one of our very successful Indian American shows that we had here.
Oh, yeah.
Never have I ever. So, but on that thing, if you need somebody looking like Brad Pitt, I'm there. But, last question from there. And this is the last question. I'm sorry. We could go on all night, but.
Hi, I'm Sanchita. So I moved to the US 2 years back and just wanted to talk about how I love your movies, and I've grown up watching movies like Jab We Met. And I love how you bring in personal narrative and a lot of feel into the movies and make them so relatable. My question is a little bit selfish. So I am a singer, and I know that you can't sing, but...
Ab kuch ga ke suna. Quickly. One line.
Okay, auditioning.
Go on.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an audition now.
Okay, there are two options. आपकी नजरों ने समझा और ख्वाजा मेरे ख्वाजा.
आपकी नजरों ने.
Okay.
Chaliye, Khwaja is the winner.
नहीं, आपकी नजरों ने.
आपके नजरों. Okay.
Take your time. Start again. Hang on. Take a moment.
आपकी नजरों ने समझा प्यार किए काबिल मुझे दिल की धड़कने ठहर जा मिल गई मंजिल मुझे आपकी नजरों ने समझा.
Very nice. Thank you. Now, what's your question?
Yeah, so my question is not about how I can audition for your movie, but my question is more about you worked with such prominent singers like Sunidhi Chauhan, like you mentioned. So what do they do differently as compared to some other artists who are probably not as successful yet?
They have a lot of, when they sing, it seems as though the words that they are saying is expressing itself very well. When you say pyar ke qabil, वो प्यार के काबिल, it's somehow the feeling of being that or not being that or wanting to be that expresses itself. There's a certain, almost like an acting through voicing, which I personally like, for which a connect with the material that you're singing is important. And I don't only mean it in terms of meaning, like the literal meaning, but also the notes. You know, they have to resonate with you, so to speak. So there's a feeling that, you know, it seems full, complete when a good singer sings. You know.
What better than to finish with a song? Thank you, Imtiaz.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
And
thanks for being here. Sorry, he's still saying something. I just stood up.
I was going to say thank you to the people who are not in the room and you are watching on on the TV. Thank you. I'm sorry that you're not here in person, but I hope you enjoyed this. And come back again for next Sala. And you want to say something? Sorry.